In 2016, Andrew Tate was a four-time world kickboxing champion who, after being removed from a UK reality TV show, faced a critical, career-defining choice: retreat or double down on controversy. Now, most people in that spot, they'd retreat, maybe rebrand or just disappear for a while. But for Andrew Tate, this public humiliation wasn't an ending. It was actually the beginning of a radical experiment, an experiment in the new laws of attention. He stumbled upon a formula so potent it would make him one of the most famous and infamous men on the entire planet. This is the story of that formula, what we're calling the Andrew Tate Effect.
So right there, in that moment, a choice was made. He decided not to apologize, not to fade away, but to actually weaponize the very thing that got him kicked off the show. You see, he saw something that others didn't, that in our digital world, outrage and attention, they're basically the same currency. While everyone else was running away from the fire of public opinion, he decided to run right into it, realizing he could build an entire anti-fragile empire from the ashes.
So to really get how he pulled this off, we're going to deconstruct his entire strategy into a 6-part blueprint. First, we'll look at that defining choice that kicked it all off. Then, we're going to examine the mindset that was forged in the ring, because that's what made it all possible. We'll decode his playbook for creating loyalty, uncover the amplification machine that makes him impossible to ignore, analyze the new media empire he built, and finally, distill the powerful lesson this teaches all of us about the new rules of attention.
Okay, so it all started with his removal from that TV show, Big Brother. To the outside world, it looked like a total career-ending disaster. But for Tate, it was basically a live social experiment. As this firestorm of angry comments and hit pieces and shares just erupted online, he wasn't seeing failure, he was seeing data. He realized the algorithm doesn't have a moral compass. It couldn't care less if people love you or hate you. It only cares if they're clicking, commenting, and sharing. And that single insight, that became the catalyst for his entire outrage-fueled strategy.
This was it. This was the simple, powerful idea he built his whole empire on. Outrage is the ultimate cost-free marketing hack. He recognized that most public figures are absolutely terrified of controversy, which created this massive, untapped market for anyone willing to just embrace it. He made a calculated bet to turn every single person sharing his clips in anger into an unpaid, highly motivated member of his marketing team. Every hater became an amplifier. Every angry click just fueled his growth. And the best part for him, it cost him absolutely nothing.
But let's be real. To execute a strategy this extreme, to intentionally walk into a storm of negativity day after day, you need an almost inhuman level of discipline. And that discipline wasn't born on the internet. It was forged decades earlier in the brutal black and white world of professional fighting. His background in the ring is, without a doubt, the necessary prerequisite for everything that came next.
His whole public persona is really built on his foundation of genuine hardship. I mean, he was raised in Luton by a single mother, so his childhood was defined by scarcity and a whole lot of physically demanding work. It instilled this rigid discipline in him from a really young age. Then, at 19, he steps into the world of professional kickboxing, and this wasn't just a hobby, it was a grueling career that ended with him winning 4 world championships. That level of success in that kind of unforgiving environment, it just doesn't happen by accident.
You know, the kickboxing ring was the perfect training ground for his social media mindset. Think about it. In a fight, there's no gray area. You either win or you lose. Success is a binary outcome. It's a direct result of ruthless, brutal adherence to training, to consistency, and to strategy. He took that fundamental truth from the world of combat and applied it, almost one-to-one, to the chaotic, emotional world of the internet.
All right, so now we have the catalyst, that defining choice, and we have the mindset, forged in the ring. Next, we get to the playbook itself. This is where he turns a wild idea into a systematic, repeatable process for generating not just attention, but a very specific kind of fanatical loyalty. The core of his loyalty playbook isn't about being liked by everyone. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's a philosophy built on a really counterintuitive belief. In a crowded digital world, the only way to achieve explosive growth is to deliberately alienate the majority of people. See, by pushing most people away, you create this incredibly strong, unified bond with the minority who feel seen and defended by your message. He strategically traded broad, shallow appeal for intense, profitable, almost cult-like devotion.
Now, this entire strategy really rests on 3 core pillars that work together perfectly. First, you've got a specific brand of masculinity that's designed to provoke. Second, there's a narrative that turns all criticism into a badge of honor.
And third, a system for capitalizing on every single scrap of attention, both the good and the bad.
Okay, let's break these down. First up, antagonistic masculinity. This isn't just about being macho. It's a calculated strategy. It taps directly into the very real economic and social anxieties of a lot of young men and offers them a simple, aggressive, and aspirational solution. Second, the persecution narrative. And this one is maybe the most powerful pillar of them all. Every single time he gets banned or faces legal trouble, it's not framed as a setback. No, it's reframed as proof that he's a truth-teller being silenced by the elite or the matrix. This transforms his followers from just an audience into a kind of rebellious, enlightened in-group. And finally, attention arbitrage. This is the engine that powers the whole machine. He gets that outrage generates clicks just as effectively as praise. He is arbitraging attention, taking all this negative energy that other people see as worthless and converting it into valuable, measurable engagement.
So a philosophy is one thing. It's just an idea. To make it a reality, you need a system. This is where we shift from the why to the how. How does he actually execute this playbook on a global scale and make himself seem, well, impossible to silence? The first part of his amplification machine is people, a whole lot of people. He didn't build a traditional top-down brand. He built a decentralized network of followers and affiliates. See, he operated under the assumption that his main accounts would eventually get banned. So he designed a system that wasn't just resilient to deplatforming, it was designed to thrive on it. And here's how that system works. His followers are incentivized to clip, to share, and to defend his content on every single platform imaginable. They effectively become this distributed army of content creators, his own personal media network, making sure he is everywhere all the time, even when he's officially deplatformed. This is what makes his brand anti-fragile. The attacks and the bans don't just fail to shut him up. They actually make his network stronger, more defiant, and way more motivated.
This slide just perfectly lays out the difference between the Tate model and the standard influencer playbook. The traditional influencer, they live in constant fear. Their whole business relies on brand deals, which means they have to avoid controversy at all costs. One scandal, one deplatforming, and their career is basically over. It's a house of cards. The Tate model is the complete inverse. He doesn't need brands because he relies on his own subscription services. He actively courts controversy to fuel his attention funnel. And because his network is anti-fragile, getting deplatformed is no longer a crisis. It's just part of the marketing plan.
This funnel right here shows you the engine of the entire business. It's a simple 4-step process. Step 1, create outrageous, polarizing content. That generates mass attention from both your fans and your haters. Step 2, all that mass attention creates a storm of clicks and shares. Step 3, funnel all of it, every click, every share, every angry comment, away from social media and towards platforms that he owns. And step 4, convert that traffic directly into subscription revenue. It's this powerful, vertically integrated system that turns raw attention directly into cash, with no middleman getting in the way.
So what's the long-term impact of all this? I mean, when you combine this philosophy with these systems, what have you actually built? This is really about his legacy, not just as a personality, but as the architect of a new and incredibly powerful blueprint for influence. You know, when you boil it all down, Andrew Tate's greatest innovation wasn't any specific opinion or a single piece of content. It was the business model itself. He proved you could completely bypass the traditional gatekeepers, the media, the advertisers, the brand sponsors. He created a direct-to-consumer ideological enterprise. He's not selling you a product, he's selling you a worldview and a sense of belonging, and he found a way to get paid for it directly through subscriptions.
This chart really visualizes the insane scale of his transformation. He went from being a niche champion, known only within the world of combat sports, to a global phenomenon. And he did this by successfully commercializing the manosphere. He tapped into these powerful, pre-existing narratives of male anxiety and empowerment, packaged them up into a simple and emotionally satisfying framework, and then sold it to a massive global audience of young men who were just looking for a sense of direction and agency.
All right, we've deconstructed the strategy, the mindset, and the legacy. But what does it all mean for us? What's the core, universal takeaway from the rise of Andrew Tate? And this isn't about whether you agree with him or not, it's about understanding the rules of the game that he absolutely mastered.
So after all of this analysis, what is the single most important lesson we can learn from the Andrew Tate effect? What is the one rule that really governs success in the world we now live in?
The ultimate lesson is this: the attention economy rewards clarity and conviction far more than it rewards correctness. In a world that's just saturated with information,
Bland, nuanced messages get ignored. Both the algorithm and our own psychology were drawn to things that are simple, clear, and delivered with absolute conviction. The system favors messages that are so sharp they force you to make a choice. You either love it or you hate it. In this new world, indifference is death.
This entire strategy can really be distilled into an actionable blueprint for anyone who's just trying to get a message heard. First, find your authentic, uncompromising conviction. What do you believe so strongly that you're willing to be disliked for it? Second, define your message so clearly that it forces people to choose a side. Third, build a system to relentlessly amplify that message. And finally, and this is the most important one, refuse to be bland. Refuse to be boring.
At his core, Andrew Tate was a disciplined, systematic champion who applied the binary win-or-lose rules of the fighting ring to the chaotic world of social media. His strategy of controversy creates cult loyalty built a global empire by ruthlessly leveraging polarization and the persecution narrative. And in the end, his story reveals an immutable rule of our modern world. In the attention economy, the greatest competitive edge is and always will be the refusal to be ignored.